Now that we're done with the creation of the model of our train, I want to go in and start painting the outside of our train. I want to create a whole series of materials that will change the surface color of each one of our polygons or series of polygons. Let's go ahead and do it. It's really easy. As with everything inside of Modo, creating and applying materials requires an initial selection. I want to start with the top of my coal car. I'm just going to double click on it. I'm in my polygonal selection mode, and then simply double clicking on it grabs all 6 polygons associated with the top. And I need to create a material. When I hit this magical keyboard shortcut here in a second, we're going to create a material and then make a physical connection between the material and the surface polygons that I have selected. So we're creating material, and then we're tagging the polygons to use that material. Let's go ahead and do it. It's pretty easy. With our polygons selected, let's just hit the M key. M for material. You're going to get this little popover. Polygon set material. Now, whatever we do not want to use the name default. We have to give it a good color. If you leave this name as default, you're going to run into some big problems. So please change this name. Give it a good name. I'm going to call this blue. There we go, and we'll create the color down here. Now, don't worry, we're going to have a dedicated video that goes over the material setup and with very fine granularity. So that's coming. We're going to spend an entire day talking about materials. So this is not the only time you're going to see this. I just want you guys to be able to colorize your polygons quickly. So I've saved a color in my little color picker here. I'll hit OK. Now, don't worry about this diffuse and specular, and just hit OK, and then boom, you can see that, look at that. Wonderful, huh? Now, all the polygons that we initially had selected were transformed into this lovely shade of blue. Now, to see specifically what we just did, go over here into the shading tab. This is going to draw open what's called the shader tree, our global shading environment. Now, again, as I mentioned before, we're going to talk in detail about this, but check it out. Right there, we've created what's called a material group. It has a little a checkered sphere and a red sphere. In my mind, these material groups are kind of like folders. There's a disclosure arrow here. If we click on that disclosure arrow, here's the physical material that we created when we hit the M key. And there's the color. So if you messed up and you want to make a different color, a different shade here, just go and click on this. You'll find you got a great color picker, and you can see that it's interactive. Any polygon that's associated with that material will immediately get updated. And that's the power of the global shading system inside of Modo. Let me just go back in time real fast because I like that blue. And let's continue working inside of our scene. Now, I want to have these guys in here, what would be the base of my coal car, be a cool yellow. So once again, I'm going to select the polygons and hit the M key to create a material. Let's call this yellow. There we go. And once again, I'm going to click on the color swatch here to bring open our color picker, and that's the one that I want to use. It's kind of an orangey yellow. Awesome. And we'll hit OK. And there it is. Wonderful. Now, the great thing about working inside of the Modo material system is that we can recycle materials and apply them to any number of polygons inside of our scene. Because I want that polygon, or excuse me, that cube and that cube to share the exact same color. I don't need to create a new material. I need to associate these polygons with the yellow material that's already been created. To do so, once again, I'm going to select the polygons and hit the M key. However, this time, I'm not going to create a new name. Check it out. This name section here is actually a pull-down list. And here's the blue. I don't want blue. And we don't want default. That actually causes some problems. And I'll show you why here in a minute. But we want yellow. And if we hit OK, check it out. Now those polygons are being referenced, or excuse me, this material is being applied to all of those polygons in here. What we're doing here is that we're tagging polygons. We're saying this polygon here, or any polygon that I have selected, please use the contents of this material group. It's pretty cool. Let's do it one more time. I'm going to grab, and we can do large collections of these at the exact same time. So check it out. I'm going to do all those wheels. Again, once again, hit the M key to create a new material or to tag a polygon with an existing material. This is going to be a gray material. Just call this gray. Get a cool color. There we go. There it goes. Now they're all gray. And once again, I can recycle these materials if I like and apply all of these guys to be associated with that same gray material. Hit the M key Just make sure that from the pull-down list, I've selected gray or the material that I want, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Now, the cool thing about working with materials is that we can apply, any material that we want to them, but ultimately, each polygon is only going to be influenced by a single material. So this one polygon in here cannot be blue and yellow at the exact same time. It's either or. It's either blue or it's yellow. Now, that's not to say that we're limiting our entire shading network to only draw single shades of color. That's not it. But it can only be associated with one material. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If I go in, hit the M key again, let's change it to yellow. Okay, now that polygon is being controlled by this material group. It can only be controlled by one group inside of our shader tree. So it also draws to the surface that we can have, when we're working with contiguous shapes like here, this cube up here at the top, we can mix and match materials inside of that. It doesn't all have to be blue. I could go and make this side yellow as well. Or I can go back in and reassign them to the blue one if I'd like as well. So polygons are only going to be controlled by a single material, but we can have multiple materials on one contiguous shape, like this little cube here inside of our scene. And that's a basic overview of how to create and apply simple materials for our three-dimensional objects inside of Modo.